G'day, how are you doing? Hopefully doing very well, keeping healthy and safe. Doing pretty good on this side of the desk. Today we're going to look at the new ASUS ROG Strix G16. It's a 16-inch gaming laptop and it houses the new 13th gen Intel Core. And they are quick processors. And we're going to explore the different features as well, looking at the temperature and fan noise and also the performance, and probably have a quick peek of the internals later on. And hopefully get a journey all the way through this review, and hopefully you get to see my surprise thoughts of what this Strix G16 is. The display is a 16-inch IPS display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600, which means it has an aspect ratio of 16 by 10, which is absolutely great for productivity work besides gaming. It also has a whopping refresh rate of 240 Hz, and also it has a anti-glare matte finish to the display. Now I do really like the actual really narrow bezels that you will see in my unboxing video, and I really love that look to it. When I performed the UFO ghosting test, it did exhibit some slight ghosting. Measuring the color coverage of the display, it resulted with 99.8% sRGB coverage, 84.6% Adobe RGB coverage, and 97% DCI-P3 coverage. This is high enough to actually work on photos and also video editing on this display. ASUS have put a new hinge design in the Strix G16 for 2023. Now, it is, as you see, it's actually quite bulky, and I have to say, it is very solidly well built hinge, and it feels really smooth on opening, and it's pretty much takes nearly not that crazy amount of effort at all. It's very smooth, and you can use any part of the lid, and it's pretty much even all the way through. So well done on the hinge design. The only concern I have is it does leave a bit of a gap where maybe buildup of dust particles, or if you eat at your computer, maybe dust could go, or food particles can go in, and you just got to maybe have to tip it out. But maybe in the next version they can probably put maybe just a little covering or something that can just take care of that, where the hinge can go in and then the flaps go down. Maybe that's something that could be done, but else this hinge design is really sturdy, you can see. But I just love the feel of this new hinge design. Well, love it. This is a recording from the 720p webcam from the Strix G16. This is the video and audio unedited, so you can hear and see what the quality of the webcam is like. And as always for this test, I've always got two top lights currently turned on at the moment. I've got my one studio light turned on, and also the down lights in this room turned on for ambience. Now I'm going to turn off my one studio light off and see this adjust. Now the two down lights in front of me is a bit far away, so there's not much light hitting on my face. So this is what I consider a dark environment. Now see how it adjusted. I think it adjusted pretty quick on the difference of very bright to very dark environment. Now if you're in an office environment, you should have much more light than what I'm currently at. Now I'm going to turn on my one studio back on and we'll see how this adjusts. Now it is adjusting a lot slower than what it was from bright to dark, but now it doesn't look like it really wants to adjust back to with the light here. Now hopefully, I'd love to hear what your thoughts of the actual audio and also the video, what you think about this 720p webcam. Put a comment below. There are two speakers located on the bottom front on either side of the G16. When I tested the maximum volume of speakers, it managed to measure in a peak of 81.6 decibels. Now we'll consider this on the quiet end scales compared to other laptops, but this is pretty much average compared to other gaming laptops. Now, as for the sound quality, this was quite a surprise. Now, normally with gaming laptops, I don't expect very good speakers out of it, but this, especially being a two-speaker system, it actually had quite a lot of bass, and it's got that little bit of a punchy bass as well. So it has very strong mids, and it is geared more balanced to the mids, but you do have that nice bass sort of backing up the mids there, and it does have a bit of a hollow reverb sound. It has some nice decent acoustics, but still I'm actually surprised how well these two speaker systems sounded. I thought it was actually a 4-speaker system because of the bass that it produced. The Strix G16 comes with a 90 watt-hour battery, which is decently large, and I managed to get 5 hours and 54 minutes for the modern office battery life test in PC Mark 10, 1 hour and 22 minutes for gaming, and 7 hours and 15 minutes for video playback on the Procom battery life test. Now, I would consider this slightly above average compared to other gaming laptops. The weight of the Strix G16 is 2.37 kilos plus the 280 watt power adapter becomes a combined weight of 3.2 kilos that you might be carrying around with you. We're going to test out the two Thunderbolt 4 ports, the USB Type-C ports, to see if they are able to charge the Strix G16. Now, I've got a 100 watt power adapter connected to this USB Type-C cable here, and I've got a monitoring tool, and we're going to connect the power adapter to the USB Type-C that's closest to the HDMI port. So I'm going to connect that up, and we'll see if that is able to charge the laptop. Now, I don't see it actually drawing any power from this power adapter, as it's pretty much 0-0. So it's actually not able to do that. And I'm just going to take that out again, and we'll plug it into the USB Type-C port that's closest to the user, or you're using it. And I'll just plug that in. We'll see how it goes. And I can straight away see that it's actually now drawing power from the power adapter here. Up to about 95 watts is what it's drawing, and charging the laptop. You can see the laptop is registering and is charging here. So the USB Type-C port that's closer to the user or away from the exhaust fan is the one you need to charge with. Now, just to double check that, just so you guys, I know people will just ask me again, so I'm just going to plug that now back in, and again, not drawing any power there. So you can use the USB-C port for a docking station. You can actually then charge up to 100 watts to it. It will actually give it a little bit of trickle charge to the battery, but if you want the full potential, you still need to plug in the AC power that came with the Strix G16. But at least you've got a port there that you can actually plug into a docking station that will give you power and also all the peripherals that you need. Testing out the USB-C port that's closest to the HDMI port, it does have a power delivery of 15 watts out. So if you connect to maybe a mobile phone, it will do quick charge to a mobile phone or any other USB Type-C device. And now we're just testing out the USB-C port that's closest to the user, and we'll hopefully get a results here. And again, it is able to support a power delivery of 15 watts outwards. So if you've got a mobile phone, you should be able to get quick charge out of that. As for temperatures and fan noise, when I took my measurement, the ambient temperature in the room was 19 degrees Celsius. Now, just to give you a reference point first, is your average hand is anywhere between 33 to about 34 degrees Celsius at this sort of room temperature. So I took my base measurement when the computer was idle, and the hottest area around the keyboard hit a maximum of 25 degrees Celsius. As for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 36 decibels. So you do hear a very slight little bit of fan, but I'll actually consider this practically silent. Then I put 20% load on computers, pretty much daily tasks such as office productivity work, surfing the web, streaming videos, and the hottest area around the keyboard hit a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 37 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 45 degrees Celsius. Then I put 50% load on the computer, and the hottest area around the keyboard hit a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it stayed at 37 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 55 degrees Celsius. Then I put 100% load with performance mode in Windows Power Scheme, and the hottest area around the keyboard measured a maximum of 41 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 43 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 93 degrees Celsius. Then I engaged turbo mode to release its maximum potential, and the hottest area around the keyboard measured a maximum of 38 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 52 decibels, and the average internal core temperature was 87 degrees Celsius. I also measured the bottom back cover while I had 100% load, and the hottest area measured a maximum of 41 degrees Celsius. Looking at the results, I can see that ASUS have done absolutely fantastic job on the thermal cooling, as we have a very nice control of the temperatures while keeping the fan noise quite relatively low. I did not find that the actual fan noise was really annoying, as it wasn't a high-pitched sound at all. Looking at the performance of the Strix G16, this one's configured with an i7 13650 G1650HX processor. And looking at Intel website, it reports this processor has a maximum turbo boost on the performance core at 4.9 gigahertz, and the efficiency cores is at 3.6 gigahertz at its maximum performance, and it has a base clock speed of 2.6 gigahertz. Now, I've got this computer connected to mains power and set to turbo power scheme to give this computer at its best performance it can do, and I've got pretty much a lot of load, pretty much nearly 100% load on the processor, memory and storage, and also having quite a bit of load on the graphics as well. Now this load has been running over 5 hours, and I can definitely see that the speed of the processor is really up there. It's about 4.55 gigahertz, and it's pretty much what I say, rock steady here. It really doesn't really budge from 4.55 gigahertz, so that's way above the base clock speed of 2.6 gigahertz, and it is very close to its maximum turbo boost. Now, I've never seen a computer this rock stable at its performance core. That is absolutely crazy. And we've got pretty much, I would say, anywhere between 78 degrees Celsius all the way to 90 degrees Celsius. So I'm going to average that out of about 86 or 87 degrees Celsius, what you're looking at for all the cores. That is amazing. Wow, this is that's amazing. This thermal solution that ASUS have put into the Strix G16 is absolutely fantastic. You got to give a big thumbs up to ASUS for the thermal solution on the Strix G16. Really a highlight of this computer. Here's the results of the benchmarks performed on the Strix G16. This unit was configured with an i7-13650HX processor with 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte storage, and also the GeForce RTX 4060 graphics. Here's the results for PassMark, Citybench R23, PCMark, 3DMark, Crystal Disk Mark, Geekbench 5, Procon Office, Procon Photo Edit, Procon Video Edit, Pugin Photoshop, Pugin Lightroom, Pugin Premiere Pro, Pugin DaVinci Resolve, Blender, Thermark, Octane Bench, Eugene Engine, and SpecView Pref. And some gaming benchmarks like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, Cyberpunk 2077, and F1 2022. Let's have a look at internals. First off, you need to unscrew the 11 Phillips head screws, and then after that, you just got to pry it off. Now, my advice is to start from the light bar. It's actually the easiest place just to go there, and then you should have to go all the way around and just continue on. Now, I've pre-undid this to speed up time. Now, we can see we got the 90 watt-hour battery. Now, it's actually quite slim, and where the actual battery connector is actually hidden behind this fan. Now, there is 2 Phillips head screws, very easy to unscrew off, and then you should have to take that off, and you'll find the battery connector now. This fan here does not connect to this chip. As you can see, there's just no contact here. This fan is really just a fan that actually blows air across the heatsink. Now, we'll come back to this a little bit later on. Now, the right of that, we've got the primary slot for M.2 for the storage. As you can see, it is a 2280 format. And then on the left side of this fan here, we've got underneath here is the 2 SODIMM slot for the memory or RAM, and then on the left of here is again a secondary slot for the M.2 for another storage, which can go take on another 2280 format, and then underneath that will be the Wi-Fi Bluetooth module. And then as you can see on above here is the 2 twin system fans, and you can see it's actually quite intricate, and I think this third fan here really makes an extra difference on actually getting this cool down and actually attributing to that very stable performance. I think this thermal design is absolutely fantastic here. I just want to talk about quickly about the bottom back cover, which I have found very interesting that I've seen and observed, and you'll actually see there's actually quite a depth into these footholes, and there are very, very different depths to here. Now, I do know right here is one of the system fans, so that's the intake air, and then we've got another system fan right underneath this for intake air. And again, you'll see some footholes, which gives a bit of take it off from the bottom, which is absolutely fantastic. And this part here, we actually got quite a bit of depth in here. Hopefully you will see the just a little bit of there, and then we'll actually have another system fan. Well, it's not really a small system fan, which actually blows to if you look at my internal views, they actually blow across the heat pipes. So that's the intake here, and you will actually see from here, hopefully this angle you'll see, there's actually a little bit of depth as well. This gives it, so cool air can actually get in from this side as well. So I think it's actually quite, as I say, it's intelligent cooling. I think that ASUS has done a fantastic job of not only just making this interesting, and it looks actually quite pretty, as you can see, that's got text there, and I think they've actually done very nice looking as well as very functional. Great work, ASUS. Overall, the ROG Strix G16 has a nice selection of ports. We've got a nice decent keyboard with RGB lights and those nice little translucent keys for AWS just to help highlight for those games. And we have a nice little light bar for those who really love the RGB lights, which you can customize. And we have a very large mechanical keyboard, which is very smooth, and also have a nice chassis with a very nice smooth surface. I can definitely see it being very durable, and we have a very beautiful display. I love the new borderless display here, and did an absolute fantastic job in displaying, and I can probably nearly do work on this. That's how good this display is. Now the speakers, that is a big surprise on the actual quality on a 2-speaker system. For any laptop it is, but on a gaming laptop that's nearly unheard of, because most of the gaming laptops I've tested out didn't have really great speakers. This I had some pretty decent speakers, and I was blown by the fact that they were 2-speaker system. The actual sound quality that produced out of this, I thought it was a 4-speaker system. Wow, definitely. But really, the highlight of this laptop is its performance. Boy, it was fast, but it's not just because of its speed, it's how it delivered the performance. It was rock stable. I've never seen a gaming laptop that had that stable performance, delivering that performance. Woof. If you take away the lights, the RGB lights, and also the translucent keys, man, I thought I would actually reclassify this gaming laptop to a mobile workstation. That's how stable that performance that this Strix G16 is able to deliver that performance. I was blown by it, and that is what I would say is probably the highlight, is the actual stability performance over long duration time. It has absolutely great temperatures, very controlled as well too, so absolutely fantastic. I can easily recommend the ROG Strix G16 to anyone for either work or even for play. Now I hope you find this video informative and enjoyed it. If you did, even support my channel, smash that like button for me, and also share this video. It does help me out. And as always, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. And I'll see you next video.